Hi guys, welcome to my latest video for Piledriver Party. I had taken a bit of a sabbatical because the picture quality of my videos wasn't great. I was only using the webcam on my laptop. Um, Now that Christmas has come around, I was obviously on Santa's good list because I've got myself a new webcam. So the picture quality will be good. So hopefully you can enjoy the videos a bit better. Um, what I'd like to talk about in this video is, now that 2017 is out of the way for WWE, what I want to look at is who I would like to see and who I think should win the championships within WWE within 2018. There are a couple of curveballs. I will give my reasonings for my choices. So I think the best thing for it is to just dive right in. We'll start with Raw and the big championship there, the Universal Championship. So who I would like to see win it next year is Samoa Joe. He's been fantastic since he's been on Raw. He's also been fantastic since he's been in WWE as a whole. He would be level with my next choice for the Universal title. He would be the perfect choice to win it off Roman if Roman inevitably wins it off Brock at WrestleMania. I think he's, at the moment, I think he's too good for the, not too good, but I think he should aim higher than the IC title. Rather than having it on Roman, I think it should be on a mid-carder. And I think Joe's above that level now. He's definitely a main eventer. Hopefully, once WrestleMania is out of the way and Roman is champion, Universal title champion, he will be facing off against full timers more rather than having a part-time champion in Brock. I think he could carry on his current feud with Samoa Joe, and I think he could carry that into next year. I think Joe would be a good choice to be the Universal title champion, the Universal champion. Get it right. And moving on to the person who I think needs to win it. I mean, this guy could easily have been in the. I would want him to win it, and that would be Braun Strowman. He's been fantastic since he left the Wyatt family and moved over to Raw. He's gone over immensely. I think the next step for him, and I think what the next step needs to be, is for him to be Universal Champion. Again, this will be him taking it off Roman after WrestleMania, maybe at SummerSlam. They had a fantastic feud this year, which, you know, the high points of it was tipping over an ambulance with Roman supposedly in, and another one with him throwing Roman whilst he was strapped to a gurney. It would be fantastic for Strowman. I think it's what he needs. To be honest, I think it's what the Universal title scene needs. He's just this absolute dominant monster that's there every week. And I think Raw as a whole would be better for it. So moving on to the mid-card bout, the IC title. I want Finn Balor to win it next year. He's not doing a lot at the moment. He hasn't really been near the Universal title scene since coming back from his injury just after WrestleMania. I don't see him being near that scene for a while. So, because obviously Roman is the main face in the company, so I don't see him going up against that. I can't envisage him beating Braun Strowman. Samoa Joe he could have a good feud with for the title, but I don't think he's quite at the level unless he pulls out the demon gimmick at one of the main pay-per-views. I don't think he's at the level where he should be winning it just yet. Obviously, he was getting a big push when he won it the first time round, but he hasn't been at that level since. So I think an IC title run would be good for him. He could have some very good feuds. Um, he had a few teas with the Miz, so I could easily see a very good feud between them. Elias could be another good feud he could have, and I think it would just be, I think it'd be what he deserves. I think he needs it because he's kind of treading water a little bit. He's already over with the crowd. His entrance is phenomenal. He looks cool. His merch, all of his merch is really good. I think he just needs that. That's something. I think he needs something a little bit more to make him. You know, he could use the IC title as a stepping stone to get up to Universal title level. And the wrestler who I think needs it, he's kind of in the same boat as Finn Balor at the moment, and that's Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt actually won the WWE World title in 2017, and just lost it at just an awful pay-per-view match against Randy Orton at WrestleMania, when it was just that weird projection match that didn't make any sense, didn't really go anywhere with the storyline. Yeah, they had the House of Horrors match afterwards, but Bray was already on Raw, so it didn't really matter, didn't really care. Nothing came of it for either wrestler, and he just loses feuds. He needs to start winning feuds. That would be helpful. And to be honest, I'd love it if he beat Reigns for it. I love Bray as a character. His promos have started to get a bit. They've got no backing, because he comes out with these promos where he's this god amongst men. He's the supposed eater of worlds, but then he goes and loses feuds left, right, and centre. He's become the less affectionately known as the Eater of Pins in the internet wrestling community. The crowd still loves him. The WWE could easily turn him back into a champion. It would only take one feud and he would be classed, or he would be seen as a legitimate champion. I think it's what he needs. I think it's what he deserves as well. And I could only see good things to come of it if he was the IC champion. Moving on to the tag team belts on Raw. A team who I'd like to see win it again, the Club. They're not doing anything again on Raw. They were tag champions going into WrestleMania this year. They weren't very convincing. They haven't done anything since. But again, like with Bray, it would only take a couple of wins for them to come across as a legitimate tag team. Again, the only problem WWE have got is that they're kind of similar to the Revival. The Revival are younger. They were obviously getting a push before they had so many injuries. But I think I would like to see the Club get a little bit more recognition for the for what they've put into the business. I think semi-long 3, 4, 5 month, maybe a 4-month tag reign before losing it, and then in the next Superstar shake-up or draft or whatever they're going to do, they could head over to SmackDown and have a bit more of a, you know, it would refresh them a little bit. I think it's the least they deserve, because they've been having to do, well, they've just been jobbing out for the past number of months, and I think they could be a legitimate Raw tag team um, champions. Now, for the team that I think need to win it next year, is a little bit of a curveball, and if you watch NXT, uh, I want, well, yeah, this is a want as well, to be honest, because I really enjoy them. But I think a team that needs to win it are the Authors of Pain. They've been NXT Tag Champions. They won the Dusty Classic a couple of years back. I think it would be good to have a new young tag team come up. It would be a phenomenal way of introducing them to the roster if they came up and won the title straight away. But again, I think it would freshen up the tag division on Raw as much as I think WWE were pinning their hopes on the revival this year. Obviously, that hasn't gone to plan. And I always get his name wrong, and it's a bit of a travesty, but with Paul Ellery as manager, he can help get them over. He can be their mouthpiece. They look awesome. They look menacing as hell, and I think it would be great if they were Raw Tag Team Champions at some point next year. Lastly, on Raw is the Women's Championship. Who I want to win it next year, Nia Jax. They've teased it so many times. She's always dominant in the ring. She's been in pay-per-view matches in Fatal 4-Ways where the other three competitors obviously know that she's a big threat to them, so they gang up on her to get her out of the match. They've threatened to put the title on her and have never gone with it. They've threatened. She's turned on Alexa Bliss 2 or 3 times last year, and that just seems to disappear, and then they're best friends again. It really doesn't make sense. I don't know why WWE haven't pulled the trigger on Nia Jax. She deserves it. WWE, please do it. And the wrestler who needs to win it next year is Asuka. Whether that's by winning the Royal Rumble that's just been announced for the women or not. She's gone 2 years undefeated in WWE if you include NXT. She was NXT champion for over 500 days. Was never beaten for it. She relinquished it due to injury and then moved up to Raw. She's beaten everybody since moving on to Raw. She hasn't really had a very good feud since moving on to Raw, but she's looked convincing. She looks the part as a champion. The next step for her is to become the Raw Women's Champion. That needs to happen because it would be best of business, to quote Mr. and Mrs. H of Triple. Moving on to SmackDown and onto the world title. I want to see, and this might annoy some people, but I want to see Baron Corbin win the world title. He's had a very strange 2017. 2016 was good for him because he came out of nowhere and won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania. So he had a good year 2016. 2017, not. He was up and down. Won Money in the Bank, then didn't cash in properly. Screw you, John Cena. Won the US title. Didn't really have a decent feud with it. Then lost it to Dolph Ziggler, who at the moment, at the time of this being filmed, just dropped it straight away. Left SmackDown. So we don't know what's happening there. There's a tournament to see who will be the next US title holder. He had a first round match against Bobby Roode and lost via roll up, because that's how Baron Corbin loses. He gets a lot of heat. Not a lot. There are a lot of people that are detractors of his, but I think he's certainly improved in the ring. I didn't think he was great when he was in NXT, but he seems to have come on leaps and bounds. He looks like a legitimate monster, especially on SmackDown. It probably wouldn't be the case if he was on Raw with Roman and Braun, but on SmackDown, certainly, I think it would be a good choice. I think he'd be a good heel champ, a good strong heel champ, and I think that's what's next for him. I think that's why he's not going to be in the US title scene for too much longer. I think he will move up because they need to do something with him. They need to push him on, and that looks like a good journey for him next year. Have a feud with maybe AJ. They've already feuded over the US title this year. Maybe feud with AJ. Revisit a feud with the next wrestler I'm going to mention. And I think he'll keep on improving next year. So I think it's a good choice. The wrestler who I think needs to win it is the King of Strong Style, Shinsuke Nakamura. He was awesome in NXT. He's come up to main. He's come up to SmackDown. He wasn't on TV for a long while. They just kind of showed him a couple of times. Didn't really have any matches. He just cut strange promos or interrupted promos. Firstly from The Miz, who quickly just moved over to Raw in the Superstar Shake-Up, so that killed any feud there. He had a bit of a lackluster feud with Dolph Ziggler. An awful feud with Jinder Mahal, because it was at a point where WWE were insistent on pushing Jinder as WWE title holder, world title holder. And to be honest, I actually kind of like Jinder as champion. I know it wasn't for Jinder. It wasn't a great. They didn't build him up to be world champion. He just kind of went from jobber to champion, and that wasn't the best way to do it. It would have been better if Jinder was champion this year. In 2018, but he was built up to be better this year. The world title match that everybody wants to see at WrestleMania, WrestleMania 34, is Nakamura versus AJ Styles. Everybody wants to see it. Everybody's heard about their Wrestle Kingdom 11 match and how awesome that was. Not 11, no. Yeah, sorry, might have been Wrestle Kingdom 11. I can't remember which one, but it is awesome. Everybody wants to see a rematch. They've teased it so many times. AJ wants it, Nakamura wants it, everybody wants it. It would steal the show. It would be awesome if Nakamura went over then. And if he doesn't, it's going to get to the point where people aren't. It will take the mystique, it'll take the gloss off him a little bit, and then he'll just become an upper mid carder, and it will just be a lost opportunity. He'll go back to New Japan, and he'll be awesome back in New Japan, and it will just be. It'll be a case of the ball being dropped hard by WWE. So Nakamura needs to be the world champion next year. Moving on to the US title championship, a curveball here, but I would love to see Neville be the US champion. Obviously, we don't know what's going on with Neville at the moment. He walked out because he didn't want to. He didn't think he was being used right, and him being used to put over somebody like Enzo, who's obviously lacking in the ring, when Neville's character as a heel was so good. he always put on great matches. He's just the way he carried himself, his facial features, his facial expressions. When he lost the title for a short period of time against Akira Tozawa, he turned up to Raw and 205 Live just looking dishevelled, like he hadn't slept for days since losing it. And I think he's good enough. He would be a legitimate US champion. If he resolves whatever dispute he's got with WWE at the moment, especially with the US title tournament that they've got going on, they've had 2 of 4 first round matches. If he was a surprise in the first round, if he was the 8th competitor in it, I don't think the other 4 have been named yet. If he came back, won that tournament, went back to being me, Neville, give him some merch that isn't awful, because Neville is amazing as a heel, and he even was starting to turn kind of tweener, but he was amazing this year. I think it's only fair that he gets given a shot at a main card belt. And the wrestler who I think needs to win it next year is Sami Zayn. Again, he was phenomenal in NXT, was an NXT champion. Put on a fantastic match with Nakamura in Nakamura's first match in NXT. Moved up to the main roster, had an awesome feud with Kevin Owens. The Kevin Owens feud lasted a good couple of years across NXT and the main roster. Has now turned heel and joined forces with Kevin Owens. And I think the next step for him, I think he needs some kind of validation for his reasoning behind it. So I think the US title would be a good fit for Zayn. I mean, especially if Owens wins the WWE title and Zayn wins the US title. I think that would fit in with the story arc they're going with at the moment, with Owens and Zayn and Shane McMahon's vendetta against them. I think he needs it. Although he's been phenomenal with his heel turn, the way he acts is just. He's kind of turned his cockiness and his arrogance up to 12 out of 10. His mannerisms, he's doing really well at the moment, and I think he needs the title. I think he needs it as some kind of validation for the work that he's been doing, and it would fit in with the storyline that they're going with currently. Okay, so moving on to the tag titles, a relatively new team. But probably the most over tag team at the moment in WWE, and that is good old Rusev and Aiden English, who I think are now being called Rusev Day. They are so over with the fans. The last edition of SmackDown, the Boxing Day edition, I know it was in Chicago, so I know they're kind of a kind of. I don't really like the term, but a smart crowd. They're smart marks, or like to think they are. Although they were kind of assholes during SmackDown and Raw this past week, but they were fully into Rusev Day. Rusev is enjoying himself. I don't know how they've managed to get this over between them, Aiden English and Rusev. Aiden English has really upped his game as well. He looks as if he's put a bit more muscle on. He looks like he's not going to lose every match now, and I think it would just be fantastic. The last time a tag team was as over as this was the Fashion Police. They didn't put the titles on Fashion Police, and they should have done. So I'm hoping that WWE have learned from the mistakes and put the title on Rusev Day. And then the team, I think, need to win it next year are the recently repackaged Bludgeon Brothers. Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, although they've both dropped their first names, have come in, have destroyed everyone in their path so far. I think once they're done with Fashion Police, with Breezango, I can see them moving up to kind of the upper card of the tag division on SmackDown. And to get them over as a legitimate team, they need to start beating the likes of, I mean, it's all very well and good squashing jobbers, Hype Bros and Fashion Police, but they need to start beating the likes of Gable and Benjamin, the Usos, Rusev Day, the New Day. They would certainly look good with the belts, although probably the Raw belts would look better because of their red outfits. But I think to get them over as a legitimate heel tag team, they need to win, and a dominant tag team, they need to win those belts next year. Okay, so moving on to the women's division, I would like, and this is quite an easy one, but I would like Kamala, not Kamala, he's certainly not a woman, Carmella to win the women's championship on SmackDown Live. Yes, she won Money in the Bank, or kind of won Money in the Bank after James Ellsworth won it. So you would think that she would be the next in line to win the title, but it looks like they don't want to put it on her just yet. But I think a big cash in would be great. If it happened at the Rumble, even better. Although I think they'll keep it on. I think they'll keep it on Charlotte until WrestleMania. Maybe Charlotte retains at WrestleMania and then Carmella cashes in. Or, I mean, saying that because Raw have got the Money in the Bank briefcase, not briefcase, the pay-per-view next year. I don't know if she can hold it after that. I'm not sure. But it would be great to see somebody other than Charlotte, Naomi, Becky, Natalia, something kind of like the, and this sounds bad, but the old faces winning it, or the people that you would expect to win it. So although she is Money in the Bank holder, you know, there's a chance that if they don't want to pull the plug on it, on her and push her, she could lose it. But I would enjoy Carmella as a champion for a bit. Maybe even get Ellsworth back in for a stint, so that she's kind of like a weak heel who needs his help. Maybe not. I don't know, but I think it'd be good for her. Then the women's wrestler who I think needs to win the title next year is Becky Lynch. So she was the inaugural SmackDown Live Women's Champion. Lost to Alexa Bliss in kind of fortuitous circumstances, losing in a tables match. Didn't win it back, mainly because Alexa brought in Mickie James to help her out as what was her name now? La Luchadora. And then she hasn't really been near the title scene since then. I can't see Charlotte having a legitimate challenger for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship at WrestleMania, other than Becky Lynch. And I know they're meant to be, or they're put over as friends. They're very much best friends on Instagram, so they put a lot of stuff up together on Instagram. But I think it would be interesting to see two faces go at it. Two faces, two friends go at it at WrestleMania, and I think it would be awesome for Becky to win. I think she needs it because she needs to start winning again. She's kind of been on the periphery. There was a teased heel turn at one point, and I think she needs it. I think it would be good for the women's the women's division on SmackDown. Um, and I think, of the four horsewomen, she's the one with the least title reigns. I think maybe level with Bayley. I don't know. I can't remember if Bayley's won the Raw title once or twice, but Charlotte's 5-time champion. Sasha Banks is 4 times champion, although it was never successfully defended, which is stupid in itself. Maybe it's a long burn storyline. We'll never know. But yeah, no, I think she needs to win it. Moving on to the other kind of belts within WWE, so the Cruiserweight Championship. I really enjoyed Gran Metalik's work, and he's probably one of the most exciting cruiserweights on 205 Live, and for that reason, I think he deserves the title. It doesn't help that his English isn't great, so that could hold him back. But you don't need to be a good talker to be a good champion. Just let him do his stuff in the ring. I think he'll get over that way. I think he'll get over naturally. He just needs to keep impressing, and I think the fans would be behind him. Who I think needs to win it next year is Hideo Itami. So they kind of bigged him up in the promo videos before he moved over. He's a big name. He's a big name from NXT. He's a big name from over in Japan. Infamous or famous for his go to sleep, which CM Punk later used. He also has I think it was the running knees that Daniel Bryan uses. He first started using that move. He was the innovator of that move. And if 205 Live want to be a legitimate show, if they want it to be a show where people want to go to watch good wrestling, having Enzo as champ isn't great. He might be good for storyline, but for wrestling, you can't get much better than Hideo Itami in 205 Live. I think it would be good for him. It'd be good for the division. It would give them a sense of authenticity as a division, as a show. So yeah, that needs to happen, WWE. In NXT, I am desperate to see Aleister Black as champion. Although I think what might happen is that he will get called up after WrestleMania, this in 2018. I could see him making a big splash on the main roster. But if he is to hang about longer than that, then I would love it if WWE put the title on him. He looks awesome. His moveset is awesome. He looks like a legitimate badass. His theme music is probably the best in WWE at the moment. His merch is quite good. He needs more merch because they will fly off the shelves. There isn't a downside to him, so I can't see why they wouldn't put the title on him. Maybe it's because they don't. Maybe it's because they don't. Maybe want him to lose the title, although we could lose it in a triple threat or a fatal four-way, something like that. Because I don't think they'd want him to relinquish the title undefeated and move up to main. So I think he may go up to main without losing a one-on-one match clean, but I would love to see him win the title. And the wrestler who I think needs to win it next year is the Freak of Nature, although I don't think that's his nickname, but Lars Sullivan. They're pushing him as a monster. I just watched the Fatal 4-Way between him, Killian Dane, Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano, which, spoilers, Mr. Gargano won somehow. There was a little bit of help from Undisputed Era along the way. But if they want to continue pushing Lars Sullivan as an unstoppable monster, he needs to be an unstoppable monster. He needs the title to justify them pushing him as they are. Personally, that's what I think they need to do. The problem with that is he would then need to lose it, which, again, if they found someone who they think legitimately could beat him for it, then yeah, go for it. Even have Roderick Strong take it off him the back end of next year, or let him hold it on, let him hold on to it for a year, and then him drop it to somebody. But I think to make him the legitimate monster that he needs to be, I think he needs to be the NXT champion. Moving on to the tag belts, the tag championships. There aren't a lot of teams on NXT at the moment, especially teams that you think, yeah, they look like champions. They deserve to be champions. So this was kind of hard, especially this first one. Well, I'm my second pick, to be honest, but the tag team that I want to see win it are Street Profits. Not in the first half of the year. Let them grow a bit more, let them get some more wins under the belt, and then maybe the last takeover before 2019, put the belts on them. Maybe beat an Undisputed Era. I think that'd probably be the best route to go. You know, we don't know when TM61 will be back. Heavy Machinery are a mid-card team. They're not great. They're not great to watch. There's a reason why they haven't pushed them anymore. Sabatelli and Riddick Moss, again, could be pushed if the likes of Authors of Pain and Sanity move on to main. They could get a push as a heel tag team. One thing I didn't mention at the start of the video is that I haven't picked, or have I? No, I've picked one. So I haven't picked people who are currently the champions of those belts, and there was a reason for that, because I wanted fresh faces. So yeah, I think if they keep going the way they're going with Street Profits, get them to win it at the back end of the year, it'd be good for them. It'll help them get over. It'll help freshen up the tag scene a little bit in NXT. And then moving on to the team who I think need to win it next year. And there's quite a big proviso on this. If they stay in NXT past WrestleMania, maybe up to SummerSlam, I think Sanity need to win it back, the tag belts. They just lost to the Undisputed Era. They've got a rematch coming up the first week of 2018. I don't think they'll win it then, but I think they might win it, possibly the takeover before the Rumble, win the belts back, and then drop them again, the takeover before WrestleMania, and then move on to onto main. Probably Raw, although I'd quite like them on SmackDown. Thinking about it, facing off against Bludgeon Brothers, that'd be quite fun. Yeah, I think they didn't put the belts on them for so long because there was so many other good tag teams there. Revival, Authors of Pain, DIY. They kind of they were more worried about Eric Young trying to get the men's title. So I think now that they can concentrate on the tag titles, I think they need to win them back next year. Moving on to the women's division, who I would like to see win the title. This is a bit of a cheat, but I'm putting them in as one. The Iconic Duo, either Billie Kay or more than likely Peyton Royce. They're over as a duo, as wrestlers, as characters. They both look fantastic. Their moves have got better. Peyton Royce has got a lot better throughout 2017. They would look good with the belts. I mean, what I could see them doing is if one of them wins it, I could see the other one getting a replica belt and then both wearing the belt because they're the iconic duo. They do everything together, that kind of thing. And I think that could help them transition to kind of tweeners, which I think they are now. But I think that would solidify their tweenership. Um, and then moving on to who I think needs to win it next year. And again, this kind of harks back to my picks for the tag titles. Nikki Cross. I think we're getting to a point now where they've kind of had a bit of a refresh in the women's division. Obviously, Ember Moon is the women's champion at the moment. Kairi Sane won the Mae Young Classic. Shayna Baszler has just debuted, taking out Kairi Sane, funnily enough, on the last NXT taping of the year. She will move up to Mae Insanity. I think she needs it, and I think that she deserves a title reign between now and when they move up. They've teased her. I mean, she's had plenty of chances, but kind of not. They've never been in just straight one-on-one matches. She's been in Fatal 4-Way. She's been in was it a last woman standing match against Asuka, who she was never going to beat Asuka because of what they wanted to do with Asuka. So I think she needs it. I think it would help put her over even more, or even though she's phenomenally over at the moment. I think it would be good for the division. The pop, if she won, would be massive. Even if she took on Ember Moon for it and won it off Ember Moon, maybe after SummerSlam, or maybe just before SummerSlam, sorry, wins it and then drops it just before Survivor Series. Maybe, I don't know how it would fit in, but I mean, who wouldn't want to see Nikki Cross be the women's champion? She's awesome. She's got a great character work in NXT, and I think it would be the recognition that she deserves and that she needs. Moving on to the last belt, the UK title. I know it doesn't get as much of an airing as we need it to, although it has appeared on NXT TV a little bit more since the last takeover. And who I want to win the belt, Trent Seven. He's one half of Mustache Mountain. On the independent scene, he's 1/3 of British Strong Style with Bate and Dunn. He's 35, maybe 36. So it would be nice to see him get the recognition of all the years he's putting on the indie scene, all the good work he's done with Trent Seven, not with Trent Seven because he's Trent Seven, with Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. Being Tyler's trainer to his tag team partner, to help him push the British wrestlers in the UK kind of division within WWE, even if it's just a short reign, even if he wins it and then loses it on his first defense or his second defense, I think it's the least that he deserves. And then, having said that, and this is the one, this is kind of the one exception to the rule with me not picking wrestlers who currently have the belts, and who I want to be UK champion in 2018 is the Bruiserweight, Pete Dunne. It would be fantastic if he could do, or if he could mimic kind of Asuka, or over in New Japan, Okada. But by just continuing to put on amazing matches like he has been. His 3 matches with Tyler Bate this year have all been awesome. He had a very good match against what's his name, Johnny Gargano, at the last takeover. Although it was shown on NXT TV. If he kept that for the whole year, putting on awesome matches against top quality opponents, he could have kind of crossover matches with Neville, if Neville ever came back. Drew McIntyre, you know, they're both UK guys. You know, I mean, he's even, like I say, he had a match against Gargano, so he's actually facing non-UK wrestlers as well. So he could really be kind of, he could transcend brands with his matches, and I think that would be fantastic. Just keep it on him for a whole year. Like who wouldn't believe that? That sounds like a catchphrase for another wrestler, funnily enough. Yeah, he's a star that has just kept growing and growing, and I think he'll continue to keep growing and growing. His character work is amazing. I love when he comes out with the teeth, with the belt between his teeth. Then he puts his fists to his mouth. If they could let him do that on main, that'd be awesome. Has a match a month against someone for the title. You know, that's 12 title defenses in a year. Throw in a couple of pay-per-views as well. Everybody would be happy about that. That's the end of the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Any advice you could give, please do. I'm looking to learn, certainly. I hope you like the improved picture quality, although you know you might not like looking at me, but at least the picture quality is better. So you know that can only be more enjoyable for everyone, surely. As I say, let us know what you think in the comments. Any advice, anything you like, anything you don't like, anything you want me to do videos on, give me a shout. Give me a follow on Facebook and Twitter. So on both, just search for Piledriver Party. I'll come up. That's it for now. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I hope you all have a great new year. See you later. Bye bye.